Oh, hey there. So we got the driver's side head back. Same deal. Guy just resurfaced it again from the last guy that milled these 30,000ths and just cleaned up the deck surface a little bit. He said it wasn't as bad as the other one, but it was still worth doing. So we've got that back. We're going to install this back on the engine and continue from where we left off with butting this thing back together. Hopefully have it fired up here pretty soon. So let's go.
Cue the montage.
Cue the montage. Don't have one. We're not there yet. Yet again, man, when you always install these head gaskets, make sure that the water jackets go to the rear. I don't feel like the world's biggest dummy. Do exactly what I've done. Build you a brand new motor. Drop a damn bolt down the intake port. And have to do a whole top end rebuild because you decided that you want to be a dummy. That's how you make progress with building hot rods. In case you didn't know that, which, you know, y'all are probably smarter than me. Alright guys, this next morning from the clip that you saw last night, us getting the driver's side cylinder head from John and putting it on, putting the intake on, that sort of stuff. And last night it was so hot, I was just like, I gotta go in and I'll get to it first thing in the morning. And it's way nicer this morning than it was last night. So we've got to put the driver's side exhaust manifold on, the crossover for the exhaust from driver's to passenger side manifold. We've got to hook up, we got to install the coils, spark plug wires, spark plugs, and the downpipe on the turbo. That should be it, and we should be able to fire this thing up. So watch me throw this thing back together, and then we'll do maybe first fire up on it. So let's go. We got all that finished up. I still have to do the crossover. I believe that's all we have left. Crossover and the actual downpipe. So I'm gonna do the crossover first, and then I'll come up here and do the downpipe. And cross your fingers. This thing's gonna start up. Alright y'all, so it's been a long process of getting this truck back together after the terrible mistake that I made. So either way, everything's buttoned up as far as I can tell, so I'm going to jump in here and we're going to give this thing a first start. And man, y'all cross your fingers with me, this thing runs. Alright everybody, let's address the elephant in the room. The last clip, you saw us on the third try trying to start this thing. There's a lot that happened after that we didn't record. We've got something going on with this engine that's not happy, and I don't know what it is. We thought maybe it was the cylinder heads that had been milled and then they got damaged. And the guy that fixed them said that they weren't flat, so he flattened them, thinking maybe the first guy milled too much off of them. We don't know. We measured them. They kind of measure out kind of odd, so we need to check the chamber size. I don't have the stuff to do that. I'll have to do that another time. But we changed cylinder heads to another set I had that were stock 799 heads that were on the old motor. We put those on in a mad thrash and it still will not start. It sounds different. It doesn't sound as unhappy as it did before, but for some reason the engine just sounds out of time or something. It's on Holly, so I went into Holly and changed a bunch of settings and the ignition setup, trying to get this thing to fire up, and it will not. So I don't know if we hurt a rod when it hit the bolt on the old, that first set of cylinder heads, and it's dragging against the crank or something, that's causing it just not to want to 100% fire up or not. But so what we're going to do is we're just going to have to pull the motor back out of this thing again. I'm going to just take the short block to the machine shop, have them disassemble it, inspect, and then reassemble everything, and go ahead and put a 58X reluctor ring on this deal. It's got a 24X reluctor ring on it currently. We're gonna, while it's there, go ahead and have them put a 58X reluctor ring on it just to eliminate that possibility. I've heard those can separate or spin or whatever. I've never ran into that issue, but you know, who knows when you're using old stuff and got it machined, and the machine shop could have bumped it or something at some time or whatever. So anyway, that's kind of the update on this. So I just kind of wanted to let y'all know it was still not there. This truck has been a struggle. Every time we put an engine in this truck, it just don't like it the first time we put it in there. I don't know. When we had the aluminum block in here, we put it in, and it didn't like it. We took it back out, had the machine shop, checked the reluctor ring, found the reluctor ring was out of, was at tolerance on the run out on the reluctor ring. So they fixed that. We put it back in, it fired right back up. It fired right up, it was ready to go, and like I said, it was good. We took the aluminum block apart that wasn't here. We did kind of find, it looks like the head gasket might have been the only issue with that one. So we were like, hey, let's just put all the new parts from this motor over into that motor and call it good. Well, when I was flipped it upside down, I checked the bearings and stuff on that engine. That engine, the bearings were just about ready to spin in it. There's 4 or 5 rods that, man, if they hadn't spun yet, they were holding on for dear life trying not to spin. The very tips of the tangs were probably the only thing keeping them from spinning, because when I pulled the caps off, the bearings just fell out. Like, there was no tension to them at all anymore. You can see they've got a lot of scuffing to them. They didn't really hurt the crank. There's 1 or 2 that did, like, put a little scratch in the crank. So at some point we'll have to have that one polished, and we'll put it back together and have it for another project. But so that X that using that motor. So if I'm going to fix that motor, might as well just pull this one out and have it fixed, and since it's got nice pistons in it. So either way, I appreciate the people that are watching. Thanks for that support. Hopefully, you know, we can have a success at some point. You know, nothing ever seems to come easy, but if everything was easy, would it be worth doing? Think about that. I'm gonna leave y'all here. As soon as we get this thing back, I'll give you another update. Hopefully we'll go out and do some big old burnouts with this thing on 15 pounds of boost and blow up this transmission so we have to take it right back apart again.
God, please, no! No! No!
So, thanks guys.